with politics. I ran 2 elections, one municipal and one also provincial. And I also plan to go back to run for another election. I think that in Montreal we have a problem with communism, and as a civil servant, I would like to get rid of communism once for all. So those are my major project, my political career, and our nonprofit. We help First Nation to avoid homelessness in the urban cities.
Great. How about you, Ricano?
Well, I work with Caroline. It's been now 11 years. Our nonprofit is on its feet. I'm the president, and I also give art therapy to help the native to rehabilitate, to fight against addiction, and I also like to stand against the Communist Party, and I've noticed what effect it has on the world. And also there's other organizations that are related to the Communist Party, but they're not the Communist Party, such as BLM and also the Antifa, and they also follow Marxist traditions, and they are somewhat involved with the Communist Party. So
Great.
I stand against that.
Great. Seems like we have the same goal to take down communism on the world. I see that you're wearing the new federal state of China's hat. I guess you get it from our demonstration, right? So can you guys talk about how do you hear about our plan of demonstration and why you're participating in this demonstration? Thanks.
Well, I'm very visible. I have many platforms: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and I get in touch with somebody because I am not ashamed and I'm not afraid to speak out against communism. And someone from your party, well, from the new federal, connect to me in private and then told me, look, Caroline, I see that you and your husband are fighting against communism. Would you like to join us? And I say, of course, because this is the enemy of the world. It's not just against the Chinese community and all the death and everything is going on over there, but it's around the world. So we say yes, without a doubt.
Great. I think that's our point, because the starting this whistleblowers movement 3 years ago, and in Canada we have this group organized since I think May this year, and we're trying to spread a lot of information about the new federal state of China and the truth about the virus. All over the social media. So that's good that you tell us that you see it from social media, because that's a positive feedback. Yeah.
We see Miles. Miles is a very good, charismatic individual. Miles has something that drawing to you to know more about what's going on, and I think he has a great movement, and we're very proud to be by your side as a humanity, fighting together the common enemy, which is the communism against our freedom.
Yeah, so I understand that I think some of Miles' video was translated in English, right? Or at least there's English subtitle. So what do you think from those videos? I guess you guys have some understanding, a knowledge of our movement. So can you tell our audience what do you know about the whistleblowers movement and what do you know about Miles? Thanks.
Well, we know Miles in China was accused of, I think it was fraudulent money laundering, and the government was after him. We know his family has been arrested. We know how serious.
They spread a lot of propaganda about him.
Yeah, and he had to exile in the States. We saw a couple of documentary about him, and we follow very closely what's happening. Which I know right now he's on vacation, so we wish him and his wife good vacation. And but we know his family are in danger right now. And we know that his mission is dangerous. So that's why we need to join him and be a mass of people. More people we are against this enemy, less we're going to be in danger as individual. But right now, we all a little bit in danger because it's not just anybody. CCP, it's a big organization, so we know Miles could be also in danger just to speak up against this tyranny.
Yeah, and I think I want to share with you guys that starting from early this year, I think the pandemic is was all over the world, and our whistleblowers movement is aiming to spread the truth of the COVID. And our hero, Dr. Yan, fled from China to U.S. and started her, expose, interviews with Fox and other media from UK, from India, and she published those two reports. Like I want to
She's
say,
very courageous.
Very courageous. But you know, Twitter banned her already. The platform tried to discredit her. Here in Canada, she's not allowed to post anything. It was very hard to find any information about her right now.
I know. So how do you think like all the social medias ban on Dr. Yan, or at least I know Facebook and Twitter is banning, or they're restricting her accounts.
Freedom of speech is under attack. They don't want anyone to know the truth, so they find any way to muzzle us, and they make up false accusations, and they try to make sure that no one accepts the truth from our mouth.
The false narrative, that they're going to give against you. They're going to ridicule you in public to make sure that nobody believes you. And I think it's insane. We're in a world where the truth cannot prevail, and we have to fight against this. This is the first freedom that we have is a freedom of speech in this land, and we're about to lose it because of spies and CCP coming into our government. So we have to do something.
Yeah, I know that in US there's this bill 230 section which is allowing all these social media suppressing or not suppressing, like appointing those information which is maybe violence or has a hatred, spreading hatred, so they can um, restricting or remove those content, right? And
Yeah, they shadow ban you. We call that shadow ban. My account is already shadow ban, and I never threat anybody, and I never speak from close to about the COVID, but they shadow ban me because I am speaking against CCP, and that's even that is not allowed.
Yeah, I noticed that in US at least Fox News and some Newsmax or some other radio program are interviewing Dr. Yan, but in Canada I have never seen any media exposure for Dr. Yan's
They
interview.
will never touch it. It's like a disease. They're very scared that they stay away like it never happened.
Our government is pretty much ran by the Chinese Communist Party secretly.
Oh, yeah.
Our prime minister accepts a lot of money from the Chinese Communist Party, so that's why even a television here are bought by the government, and they don't allow anything to be said.
You see, the CCP is right now in Nunavut up north where there is First Nation, and they are emptying all their gold and all their natural resource, and nobody speak about it. I mean, this is outrageous. Dr. Tam, who is actually behind Monsieur Trudeau right now with the virus and pushing the confinement and all these lies and the fear tactics, and they actually make Canadian fear to have even intimacy. So pushing actually the one
child
one
policy.
child policy. We already
Yeah, I
have
see that.
advertisement that push this here.
Like it's tragedy because people are dying like every minute. I think the cases went up again recently. This is second wave, like Toronto, Peel, Ottawa, and I think all the province are going back to the stage two. Like part of the business are went back to shut down, right? Like it's affecting everybody. Like for example, a lot of restaurants I usually go, they are all shut down. And gyms, I cannot go to gyms because gyms are shut down again since today.
Mm.
It's
Well,
packing. Yeah.
you see the problem with this is we have a government that live on oxymoronism because they say that they love minorities, but most business that are actually touched by this are minorities. Most of the restaurant that close are Korean or Indian, Hindu. A lot of minority are getting touched by this closure, and the government pretend that they help minority when they actually don't. And most of the victim of COVID right now financially are minorities. It's an outrage, and people don't seem to see this.
Yeah, and one thing I want to share with our audience is at least Canadian government they're having all these kind of supplemental programs like SERBs or CEWS to those people unemployed or lost their jobs or those small business lost their revenue. But like, what do you think of these kind of policy, like printing money to rescue people and business? But like, how do you think the
They're traps.
They're
adverse
trapped. They're
We
trapped.
think that they're traps
They're
because
economic traps.
they want to break the economy, and people don't want to go back to work because of this free money, and it's not helping the economy. It's actually making people more lazy and removing the
depending on the government,
dependency on the
people's
government.
gonna lose their houses, their goods, and they're all gonna belong to the government, and we're gonna be soon not able to own anything because everything's gonna be overtaxed.
We're gonna be in debt to the government, just like eventually the government will take over, just like the communist China. They own all the businesses. Well, they're going to own all their businesses here.
It's a step further into socialism and communism like Venezuela.
Yeah, I think those $2,000 if you lost your job you can get. It's not like it's not like the cure for this pandemic, right? Like it can support you for a certain period of time, but if you keep doing that, because I think they extended this policy, I think to next year. So in the end, it's the our taxpayers that are gonna pay in the future for this debt, right? And yeah, go ahead.
We're gonna be overtaxed. We already pay the green tax. We're gonna have a second green tax and carbon tax. There is some new COVID tax in certain restaurants. So we're getting so much taxes that people won't be able to buy any property. They're gonna have to sell their ownership, and that's where it becomes dangerous, because when you cannot own anything in your own country, and the government just keep on taking everything under their wing, you're not in control of your democracy any longer.
Yeah, I think the cure is to stop this pandemic, and by doing that, the first step is get to the bottom of the origin of this virus, and then you can find the cure or the therapeutic treatment or the vaccine for this virus. If you don't know where this virus comes from, and because the thing is, the natural virus and man-made virus is totally different. Usually, natural virus will go away, when time passing by, right? It will fade away. But this virus is not fading away. It's there, like hanging there and coming back. So really, we need to wake up Canadians and wake up Canadian government to know this is a man-made virus, right?
The problem with this is people in Canada seems to forget that biological weapon exists. War is not just with tanks and guns, and I think that's what they forgot here. And we just have to go 200-300 years back. Some Englishmen who came here and destroyed an entire nation by poisoning them with the First Nation with smallpox. Remember, First Nation here died because of it. They give them contaminated clothing and sleeping bags. So biological welfare exists, but warfare. But people here don't seem to grasp around this.
And also, biological warfare is cheaper one compared to those kinetic war, right? And Chinese Communist Party is good at getting cheaper products.
You're right.
So, like the one way we want to wake up Canadians and Canadian government is to hold these kind of demonstration and rallies in different cities. I think you guys might know that we started this demonstration in July, and we almost hold it once every month. And in August, we went to Montreal, and I want to ask you guys, what's your experience through that demonstration? Is it different from demonstration you participated before?
Well, we never.
Very well organized.
It's very well organized. First of all, to be honest, me and my husband never really participate to anything like this. We actually decided to go because for us it's bigger than just what we see. It's a spiritual warfare also. So we know it's not just words. It's the good against the bad, and we have to side with the right people, and we know that our Chinese cousin knows better because from your country we cannot know much because every information is censored or corrupt. We don't have the straightforward answer. So
but straight from you, it was something eye-opening because the experiences that we heard from your mouths and from what we hear in television is completely different.
Yes.
And to us, it became more important after this movement for us to open other people's eyes to this movement and to let them know that there is a difference between the Chinese people and the CCP.
Exactly. So CCP is the most untransparency government in the world. They have this whole propaganda system, and they don't want let the Canadians or Americans know what's really happening in China, and they want to give a false image of Chinese people to the Western nations, and that's why
we saw that through Hong Kong and Taiwan. When the Hong Kongers were trying to keep their freedom, we saw how the information was manipulated and hide. So even in Taiwan right now, we know there's a struggle of Taiwanese who wants to build free, and the government here ignore all this. Canadians don't even know it's happening.
Yeah, exactly. So we trying to do all these things to break down the firewall, bridge the gap between Chinese people and Western people. That's why very thankful for you guys to participate in our show. Later, I'm going to send you the YouTube link so you can spread on your social media to more Canadians. So, as you may know, CCP is famous of suppressing its people and anyone in the world that is anti-CCP, right? Have you ever concerned any potential coercion from the party, like after you participate in the demonstration? Have you ever have any kind of this concern? Because the reason I ask you this question is for Chinese people, we are familiar with what they are capable of doing, but for a lot of Westerners, they probably won't imagine how dirty or how suppressing CCP could be.
Well, I could imagine, but I have a belief in a higher power, and I think that we do this for the right reason, and spiritually we are protected, and that's what we believe in. We know that it is a great dragon that we are facing.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Taken lightly, but
yeah, it's not taken lightly, and we have to put all our heart and our effort because this is the common enemy that's going to take us all down. So we need to fight together and join our Chinese cousins and brothers and sisters. And we are with you all the way. You can count on me, and I will always represent freedom. And I'm a freedom fighter for democracy and equality for all.
And if we don't start now, it'll be too late.
Great, you guys I can't express how thankful I am because you guys are telling our audience exactly what most of followers think. Like, if we don't stand up right now, CCP is going to control the world. Like more and more people, even your family might be affected by this virus, and they will destroy the economy, destroy everybody's life. So we have to stand up, right? And it's our unalienable rights for the all the freedoms.
Unfortunately, with the fake media and all the propaganda out there, we have a hard time to get through the people. But thank God we have internet, and now we can speak to our brothers across the world and let them know that this is our fight. It's the fight of freedom, and it's concerning all of us, and we have to take this seriously. We have to stop being deflected by election in the States. We have to stop being we have to keep our focus. The focus
CCP is the virus of the world.
That's it.
Yes, exactly. So through internet, there's already almost 4,000 viewers watching our show right now. I guess we'll have more down the road. So the CCP virus, CCP communism virus, is not only this bioweapon. Like when I talk to a lot of Canadians, they don't necessarily believe this is a man-made virus which is unleashed by the government, because they will ask why the government will kill its own people in China, because people in Wuhan are the are victims too, and they are the first group of victims. Like they don't understand how such government would exist, like killing its own people, right? So how do you think we can make sense to Canadians for them to believe like the fact CCP is willing to kill its own people?
We have to keep making noise. We have to speak in every country. We have to use every platform online we can. I mean, even if we have to use Telegraph, I mean, any ways possible to join and reach each other to fight this. There's no excuse. Tomorrow will be too late. We have to join the fight today and now.
Yes, we're trying to Twitter more and post social media posts, and also we're trying to delivering all those brochures telling the truth in different kind of communities. We are also trying to write letter to local MPs to draw their attention. I think we've done our best to wake up, spread the truth to the Canadians, but I think it's not like gonna accomplish everything through one night. Uh, like CCP already fooled the world during the past 71 years, and since now, like we people standing against CCP, we are stand by the God and stand by the justice. So we like it's a process, right? We'll gradually wake up more Canadians.
We are very proud of you. I know you have to remain anonymous. For all the Chinese, you have to remain anonymous. We pray for you and we thank you for being courageous to warn the world about this enemy that we all have in common. I will never be enough grateful for all of you to put their family and your own life. I'm sorry, I'm going to cry. I'm so grateful for you guys to put your family through this for us. Some of us don't even deserve your sacrifice, but we accept it and we thank you as a nation.
Thank you for standing together with us through this process. I hope that we can accomplish our goal, take down CCP sooner. So I want to ask you, like you mentioned that you're running the election, right, during past few years. And which party you're standing with, and what kind of policy you're advocating?
Right now, but when municipally, I will be more an independent because municipally in Montreal, we're stuck with a lot of leftists and left-minded people, which are actually pro-communist. So I'm more focusing on my provincial election, which is with the Parti conservateur du Québec, which is not the same as the Conservative Party of Canada. We have an independent leader. His name is well, what's his name again? Adrien Pouliot. Sorry, I'm nervous. So I've been with them for the past 3 years, and it's a really good party. We respect everybody's values. Everybody's welcome here. We don't believe in more government. We believe in less government, and we actually are anti-communism in my party. We wish prosperity to everybody. If you work, you can get your own home. So if every effort you put towards work will get you somewhere in our system. We don't believe in living for free and depending on the government. So that's why I love my party. My boss also last 2 years ago when he ran, he actually told the people in Quebec that if he won, he will give away his salary because he wants to lead the people for free because they're lost in Quebec. We're absolutely emerged by the left and all these mentality of socialism because they disguise socialism like it's a good thing. You can
make you think it's free, but it's not free. There's nothing free. Everything is taxed. Everything belongs to the next generation to pay for, and everybody's trapped. It's not free.
Yeah, I guess that in capitalism world, Canada and US, a lot of people they're enjoying the cheap products made in China, and which makes China the supply chain of the world, right? And like when I talk to some Canadians, they will tell me that they know about the concentration camp in Xinjiang and other places. They know
Yeah.
that they're using cheap labors or even illegal labors, and they know that they don't pay any environmental protection fees, right? But still, the people in North America, some of them, they will enjoy these cheaper products and think that those laborers are better off at least having a job instead of unemployed. Like, what do
Well,
you think of this view?
here the thing is because the union make people believe that everybody around the world have an equal pay. Here, having a slavery for pay, it doesn't exist, and some of them know about it, but because they don't see, when you don't see something, you have a hard time to believe it. So I think that's why Canadian still buy a product made of slavery, because I think they're kind of in denial of it, of what's going on, because nobody really pinpoint this problem here, or like I said, the news ignore it. We have India also has cheap labor, and it goes under the carpet all the time. Here it's hidden, and people just think maybe it's a feeble, like it's a fable, like it's not true, it's just a story that goes around, or
It's
is it
either that or people make money go first. They don't care about the casualties. They don't care about the labor of the people, the suffering. They don't care. They just want the product and they want to make money.
selfish?
So
Yes,
they don't care about the suffering or the oppression.
Yeah,
that comes with the goods. Yeah.
yeah, I agree. Like the Wall Street people, some of the Wall Street elites and Bay Street elites in Canada, they know how evil CCP is. Like they know the systems, but they still choose to appease the CCP and collaborating with CCP, right?
We saw that with the basketball players. They do the same thing. They apologize to China because they're scared to be banned over there.
They all prefer to make
They all
money.
prefer to make money. They don't care. They pretend to care about black people with BLM and reading all over their floor. But their Nike and their shoes are made in China with sweatshops. So how is it fair?
Yeah, exactly. So I think CCP has this huge economic power so that they can intimidate these big companies and to kowtow to CCP, right? And a lot of people they choose money over the integrity, and that's how um, this kind of situation comes to today.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I want to, because you mentioned that you're running a charity, right? And I know that you help a lot of homeless people. Have it ever occurred to you, like a lot of homeless people, they have drug problem,
Well,
right?
yeah.
And
The drug is
opioid. I want to tell you the background because in I think 100 years ago there's an opioid war between China and at that time it was called Qing Emperor between China and also
In
Britain.
England,
England,
England?
yes, and then CCP put it into all Chinese mind that opioids make the country and people weaker. So they published this law, very strict law, that if you're dealing drugs or opioids, it's gonna be a death sentencing. But at the opposite, through all these years, they are trying to illegally exporting opioids to North America, to US, Mexico, and then to
absolutely.
Canada.
Absolutely. And even Madame Tam suggests that we should actually legalize all the drugs, even the hard one, because that's the plan, is to put people
Destroy the mind
destroy
of the
the
people.
mind of the people. Or they want to actually lower the vote right now. They want a 16 years old to vote who never worked a day of their life and never paid taxes. I mean, how could ridiculous that can be, a bunch of drug addict and the kids that vote? Our democracy is gone. That's what I was telling you here. Madame Tam and all these agents working around our leaders are making the path, and they use trigger words like racism or systemic or all kind of stuff to make people froze in fear and
To separate.
to separate and divide and conquer. That's what's going on here.
Yeah, and when I see those homeless people, the first like thought that came across my mind is if government can give them proper help instead of give them a tent for them to live. The government, if they can stop them from drug dealing, like using drugs, and also provide them proper skill set so that they can work, get a job instead of getting the money to buy the drugs.
The problem here is our government recycles the problem. Yeah. Every social issue is a recycle issue. They make programs and they let you stay in the program over and over, and they never cure you. So that way they always have the benefit to have a program and to spend money and to say that you are the cause of the government having to spend money to fix the problem, but they never fix the problem.
It's like a purse. They throw money there for example, for drugs problem. They tell you that you're always going to be a drug addict, so you're always going to require their treatment. So you're never really free from drugs because they want you to depend on the nonprofit, which usually the person who runs this nonprofit is a friend of the government and get a very high paid job to do this. So they're going to recycle homelessness, drug addiction, because now it's becoming profitable. Non-profit are profitable here now.
We've been doing this for free for the last 11 years. Our non-profit, we don't have a salary. This year is the first year that we become charitable and we receive a charity number so we can give receipts and get donations from the private sector. Before this, we were relying on the public and the donations from the citizens for the last 10 years.
It's
so this is our first year.
It's very noble what you guys are doing, and I'm thankful that you guys are contributing to the society, at least by through your own hands. Like instead, I heard that the scandals between children and We Charity, like a lot of money was misused by the politicians.
Well, that's why I want to run, because actually, if I get elected, every nonprofit in Canada or in Quebec will have a limitation of funds. That means that people who's going to work for you is going to have a roof of salary. It can't go higher than $50,000 a year. So like this, they can do corruption to get more money.
If she runs for election, she doesn't stay in the nonprofit.
No,
she gets off the nonprofit. That way, the politics and the nonprofit do not mix.
Yeah, I don't mix both of them like Justin Trudeau did. So when I run for election, I get off the board of my nonprofit to keep my hand clear, because I am an honest person and every penny we collect is to help First Nation and Inuit in the street. And I will never take $1 for myself, because it will be wrong, because I do this for the right thing. It's just the right thing to do to take care of our community. We can't allow people to suffer. I can sleep at night when I know people don't eat, even animals. I'm a person who loves everybody, so I can't see myself doing anything else.
Well, that's so noble. I think for a lot of audience, we can understand what your goal, because a lot of us, we are doing this, following the whistleblowers movement without any compensation too, because this is just out from our bottom heart. We want to make some effort, our effort, to take down CCP sooner. But back to the virus thing. So although there's no Canadian media covers Dr. Yan's interview, there's plenty in US. And I think US, as the leader of the world, is a critical component, element in taking down the CCP, or telling the world the truth about WHO and the CCP virus. So what do you guys expect the US government to dealing with this CCP virus issue?
Well, there's two options. If it's Biden, and if it's Mr. Trump, well, he's gonna have to fight, because he's already fighting to keep his seats and to keep the chaos of coming in this country. The same people, Antifa and BLM, that's taking over the United States, which are actually backed by CCP money, and it's been proven that BLM in the States are backed by the communists of China.
And George Soros.
So this is a takeover, and if we don't take care of this right now, we're gonna have a huge problem on our hand. So for me,
well, it's now or never.
now or never. So Mr. Trump, it's in his hand because Joe Biden eats in the hand of China or Russia.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
one or the other.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys follow Bannon's War Room Pandemic, the
Yes.
show, and today Bannon actually has a brutal, he brutally asked Trump, telling Trump that you can't say anymore that I'm not happy with China because as a president you need to lead the people and take actions, but again, I think U.S. is about to take really very serious actions against this Chinese Communist Party because Giuliani, as you know, he is the New York mayor and Trump's personal lawyer. Yeah, and he tweeted today. I'm quoting his Twitter. Chinese regime let CCP virus escape to damage the world in act of war. Like he's mentioned, this is act of war by releasing this virus. Like what do you think about his claim?
Well, I think it's right. But to come back to Mr. Trump, I think Mr. Trump right now is just too busy with his own election right now. That's why he's on hold. But Mr. Gulen, you have the right to say that. I mean, we have to go, like we just said, me and Ricardo. I think there's no time to wait anymore. We have to go forward and stop them at any cost.
And if it is there's a war waged between U.S. and CCP, or even the world against Chinese Communist Party, like how do you think it will impact everybody, like including yourself and Canadian folks?
Well,
I think it's a biblical proportion what's going to happen because it's going to lead to the war of all wars if this takes place. When this takes place, because it's actually prophesied that there's going to be a face-to-face between two major kings on this planet, and that's going to be the United States and CCP China.
Yeah, and I want to be a part of this, and I'll be ready for war. I'm ready to fight, and if I have to join the army again because I did my time in the army, well, I go because I will serve my country and I'll serve God against the dragon, and that's something every night I get ready and I ask the higher power to protect us and protect everybody like you that fight the good war.
Yeah, exactly. I hope that there will be very very short period war because in the modern world it doesn't take us much time to take down the leaders of the party, exactly the same what they did to the Iran government, right? Soleimani.
Right.
But on the other side, I think Canadian government, they are still struggling, protecting its own national security because, for example, the 5G Huawei problem, like a lot of countries, US, UK, they've already decided not to using Huawei's 5G facilities, but Canada is still hesitating to cut its time with Huawei.
It's just Trudeau is not the man that's going to make decision. He has absolutely no character, and I don't want to be rude, but
he's a CCP puppet.
Yeah, and he's weak. We know personally people who know him, and his first problem is he's stupid and he's weak. So we don't need a leader like that. I know the CCP don't respect people that are weak. That's why they're afraid of Mr. Trump. And I know for a fact that if we want to take down CCP, it's not with fear, but it's with the power of God and fearlessly doing it, because we have to show them that we have the guts. Me, that's what I believe, and I don't think Justin Trudeau have any guts to do this. He will never make any decisions.
He's too busy dressing up. That's why he's not paying attention to the CCP.
I know that he is pro-communism. Like he said,
his father was always in Cuba. I mean, they are dictator lovers.
And Justin Trudeau respects the Chinese government.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
He admires it.
Yeah, he said that in the video that he admired China and his way of dealing with his people. That's what
yeah,
he said. His exact word.
yeah. He said he admire Chairman Mao.
Exactement.
Yeah,
Yeah. So until this delusional leader stay in power, we are kind of doomed. But the people are waking up, and if we are waking up, you won't have any choice to follow the majority.
Soon, Canada will be like China. The people are going to be different from the government. We think differently from the government.
yeah, exactly. That's why you mentioned it earlier in this show that Chinese people is different from the government, and this is critical for us to tell the Canadians that because what Chinese Communist Party is now doing is to kidnap 1.4 billion Chinese people, saying that if you are waging a war against our party, you are waging a war against Chinese, whole China. So this is something they are keep trying to brainwash the Westerners.
Yeah, we understand that, and but in our country, they're too blind to see it. Here in Quebec, it's the same. They think too much of being French, and they focus so much on the identity. They don't realize that they're being closed-minded to what's happening outside. We focus too much on what's happening in our culture that we don't see what's happening outside other cultures.
Yeah, I want to ask you guys: have you ever like come to any democracy supporters from China? Because a lot of them they are fake. They're actually like Chinese Communist Party spies, which are located in Canada to promote democracy, but actually they're taking money from Chinese Communist Party and work for them. And
I never worked with any. We never worked with any Chinese before today. Before we had a lot of Korean friends, and we that's how we started to get involved with the Asian community. We start with the Korean people, and the first Chinese person that I met is I cannot name, but is the person that introduced me to Monsieur Mal to your party, and I never had any experience before because here Chinese in Montreal are in Chinatown most likely, and it's a very Close community.
yes.
So it's very hard to get in tune with them. But with the community of Korean, we were having a little bit easier going with them.
Well, so, because when she ran elections, for the first time, we were the ones to help the Korean people to be involved. Okay. And because the Asian people don't get involved in politics in this country, really. No. They are independent and they own their businesses and they come here for education. So most Asians here don't get involved in politics. But if they don't get involved in politics, then CCP will sneak in here and nobody will. It'll be too late before we realize it. We need the Asians to be involved now so that they can help this poison not to spread here.
Definitely, because I know that Canada has about 38 million population, and 5% of it are Chinese. And in Montreal, there are about 3 million people, and about that percentage are from China. So if Chinese people are going out to vote, it's gonna make a difference. And in New Zealand, we know that what our whistleblowers movement, I think they participated in one party named Advanced Party, which is also anti-CCP, and they joined the party's rally and made some speech and did some parade together. So it's kind of good cooperation. So if your party, Caroline, if your party is interested in anti-CCP, there might be opportunity for us to cooperate in the future, right?
Absolutely. And my last election, I even learned some Korean. We speak a little bit home, like.
So we're willing to do the same and learn Chinese.
To learn Chinese also. If I'm going to speak, 안녕하세요, 감사합니다, 오랜만입니다. So you see, I know my Korean.
Yeah, you did your homework.
I'm learning a little bit of Chinese. Sheshe, and Bukati. That's all I know. Bukati. That's all I know.
I think there is a midterm election, right? And also the next big election is about a year later. So it's good timing, for us joining political campaigns with certain parties, right? We would like it's critical now to take down CCP, to take down the powers that CCP put inside of Canada, because they are so powerful. They have so many. They're deeply infiltrated different industries across Canada, like not only the technology industry but also the medias, the manufacturers, a lot of export and import business. They targeted over 50,000 US. When they target it, they are trying to bribe them or intimidate them, blackmail them, right? They also target like more than 5,000 targets in Canada, from high-profile politicians to business owners, entrepreneurs, scholars, different industries. It's all infiltrated by the CCP power. So we have to, normal Chinese have to stand up.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
And normal Chinese has to get out of the crony politics of Canada. They have to try new party and new people like us. That's why I'm happy we connect, because we're a totally new party. We're different, and we're for the people. And actually, if we can work together in tandem, we can make sure that one of you guys have a candidate representing your people and fight the CCP within the system. Because I believe in the Trojan horse. We cannot just fight the battle outside the wall. We need to get in, and we have to fight from within. So we need to do this together, and I'm more than happy to open the door to you guys in Quebec to do something new.
Exactly. Chinese Communist Party is good at sending Trojan horses to different countries, and
yes.
Yep.
One key word you said is technological. The CCP is a technocracy. It's technology and politics put together. It's a technocracy that wants to take over the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they use technology, and they use propaganda, and they use all the lies possible to put together to confuse the population.
Definitely. I want to obviously you guys are have the same knowledge same knowledge as us, but a lot of Canadians, they don't know how CCP's evilness will impact themselves. They will think that, oh, China is so far away, but actually CCP is damaging yourself. Like, for example, a lot of Canadians, they lose data, their private data, through cyber attack. And so are a lot of Americans. And actually those are done by the puppets hired from by CCP. So you are losing your data, and a lot of surveillance cameras, the technology products, your cameras, your phones, they're all made in China, and they're all backdoors, which are sending your private data to China. So you're well impacted by the evilness of the CCP. It's just that you don't feel it.
Are you telling me the LG is also Chinese? Because I tried to buy Korean.
LG, no, I don't think LG is controlled by.
I want LG. All my computer, all my technology home are LG.
But LG or Samsung.
But remember, Korean. a lot of these Korean brands, part of the components are made in China still. Like Apple, they have factory in China, right? So everything that is made in China, you can't trust. So the only solution to put your mind in peace is take down CCP, so that you won't be worried again, like for everything, right?
You're right. Take down CCP.
That's it.
Thanks. It's almost an hour. Thanks for joining me today. We gained about 31,000 audience just within this hour, and hopefully we can talk again in the near future. And definitely we're interested to know more about your party and your provincial election in Quebec. And thanks again, and hopefully we'll see you soon next time. What do you guys want to say to our audience for the ending?
We love you, and keep fighting the fight.
Keep fighting, and we're with you all the way till death. We love you.
We love you too. Thank you very much. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. Bye.